Howdy, y'all. I'm Kurtis Sunset.
And I'm Leah Halston. And this is Weathering Rainbows.
Well, howdy, Miss Halston.
Let's go for a walk on the Rainbow Trail.
Oh no, the last time you forgot the umbrellas and got us into a whole heap of trouble.
I won't forget this time. Let's go. Oh my, those sirens. I feel stormy weather moving in.
Girl, that ain't men it's raining. That's sequins and stones.
And we ain't got no umbrella. We better run.
Glad we had each other to weather the rainbows. Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Weathering Rainbows. And you can all sit with us on this episode. So, if you don't notice, we have styled our attire after our guest today. We have Daniel Franzese, who is Damian from Mean Girls.
Yes.
Now, we don't want to look like robbers this whole episode.
Yeah,
so
we look like we're about to
rob
a bank.
At least remove our hoods.
I'll look like straight off, set it off, honey. Okay, yes. All right. Oh, all right. Oh, that's so much better. Oh.
Now I feel like my hair's all messy. Like now I do feel like Tom Cruise from Risky Business.
Right. I look like we look like we was about to rob a bank. Bonnie and Clyde, honey. The 2022 version.
Okay, we need our makeup team.
I know,
our
like where, like hello, hair out of.
See, Damian had his haircut short during like Mean Girls, so like he could take off his hood on and off.
Yeah,
a lot. So. Yeah. Anyway, we are here, and it is our season finale episode, season 2. Oh my goodness, it feel like it blew right past us. But we've had such like a tremendous time, some amazing guests. I have seen the direction we are headed for season 3, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I wanted to briefly, I mean, it is our season finale, so let's talk some highlights of this season. One of my favorite things is seeing a lot of the shows that we got to see from Drag Daddy Productions. Kind of making those contacts with Tony Lewis and all the girls there that perform. Just an amazing organization and so much fun to go see those.
Yeah.
So
for me, honestly, just being here and able to do this with you has been a true highlight because I know when we talked about this, I could have been drunk and a little bit of like, I was like, and then you wrote me and was like, are you serious? And I was like, Leah, what the fuck did you tell him? And so, yes, thank you for pushing me to doing this. This has been an amazing experience, and I'm looking forward to season 3. And also another highlight is the Sweet Evening Breeze fundraiser. You know, we talked about and having the guests on. Talking about that event. It's just been a cloud 9 for me doing this. As you all know, like I said, I do so much. And people said, when I said, I'm about to be a part of Weathering the Rainbows, and they said, do you have the time? I said, I'm going to make time. And I didn't know where I was going to fit this in. But I'm happy and I'm so glad and blessed and grateful that you have allowed me to be a part of this journey with you. It's truly amazing. And again, looking forward to season 3.
Well, it's been right back at you. I mean, it's been an amazing experience having us as co-hosts. I mean, most people think we probably known each other like our whole lives, but honestly, we've really only become friends probably 2.5 years, maybe. I don't know, maybe even not that long. But we just kind of really blossomed into friends and know each other really well at this point. So, but I'm glad I tricked you into this. I knew you were drunk when I was talking to you, and I was like, "Hey, Leah, I think you would be a great counterpart for this show. You kind of give that different experience and different. You and I have such different types of humor, but also the same. We tell jokes differently, but we laugh at each other's jokes, which is perfect.
Honestly, we are. I think we're the perfect couple. I have a joke that Kurtis is my husband, my drag husband. So we have this whole joke that go around. We joke about things. When I see him talking to men or boys in the bar, I'd be like, "Oh, really? I'm giving you divorce papers, like seriously." And then he'd see me and be like, "Oh, I'm giving you divorce papers." So we, it's truly a friendship that have blossomed. But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm a huge fan of the show Wipeout. I don't know if you guys watch Wipeout, or Kurtis, have you ever seen Wipeout? It's a show that's in LA. It's a obstacle course that people go on and run it. And this season they brought it back with Nicole Byers and what's the wrestler's name? Oh fuck. Really hot guy. Yes.
John Cena?
Nicole Byers and John Cena. So when I think about our podcast, I said, this is me and Kurtis. When I watched the show, I said, this is me and Kurtis. Like, this is us. And we need to get on that show Wipeout. That is my goal, to get on the show Wipeout.
There we go. All right. We're gonna apply for this show. So.
Honestly, we can't, because you have to live in there. I was gonna shock you. I was gonna surprise you. I pull up the application. You have to live in LA, which sucks.
Well, hey, I've got people out there. We can say we do.
Okay.
They don't know.
Okay.
I've got addresses.
Okay.
We'll
we need to make this happen, because this is a goal of mine. But honestly, this has been a truly great blessing to be a part of this with you. And I'm so glad that we have. I love the fact that you all, not only are you the producer, you give me, you constantly ask me what I think and how I feel about things like that. And that's really important that you do that. And I really appreciate you for that.
It's been tremendous, and you're going to get all emotional. Don't do that. Why do you always do this to me? You get me all emotional and in my feelings, because but
it is very important. Like when you bring somebody on, I know in the beginning I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but you guys have to know that this man is so amazing. He, not only I'm his co-host, he don't make me, I feel like just a part of the team. And he always texts and say, "How you feel about this? Let's talk about this. What are your thoughts about this? Let's do this." So, I appreciate you for that. And thank you for that.
Leah's such a good sport about, I will literally tell her something 5 seconds and she'll be like, "Okay, let me think. Do I have this or not?" Like literally, last episode where we were like, "Oh, let's do a Hollywood theme," and we both ran to our closets and what do we have?
Other than that, and let me tell you something. It is not all peaches and cream. He will text and be like, I'm trying to think. You will text and be like, "Are we filming today or doing something?" I'll be like, "That's not what you told me." I said, "I've already made plans." You said this is when he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I told you that."
And that's the way my schedule is, though. Like half the time I'm like, "What day is it? Are we filming today? Is it, so?" And it's just because I'm literally running three businesses. So sometimes things get confused. But it's been such a amazing experience in general. Such a better time. I think people love it so much more since we've kind of joined as honest co-host. And we are just we've honestly just touched the surface of all the things that you and I are about to do. This season was more or less seeing how we were going to be as co-host and just seeing the direction of the show. And I'm telling you, this next season, the people that we've got planned and the themes are with our thing with Spotify now. It's opened up the doors.
I can't wait. Yeah.
But it's Valentine's Day. So I thought we'd play a fun little game.
Shit.
Are you ready for this?
This is okay. I'm ready.
This is one of them surprises.
Is a surprise.
So I found this neat little site that lists like 33 unique Valentine's Day dates. Okay. So I'm going to read these things off, and Leah and I have these cute little, ready to show them our little love it flashies. And so we're going to say whether we would love it or hate it on these things. And if it calls for it, we'll talk a little bit about it, but otherwise we'll just go through them pretty quick.
Okay.
All right. So, and for those that are just listening to us, I will say, whether or not we love it or hate it. So, if you're not watching, you're just missing out on a whole exceptional experience.
You are.
So go watch us on Spotify, YouTube. It's so much more fun. Yeah. All right. So these things I'm going to go through. If you were asked to do a date for Valentine's Day, and these were the things that they took you on, would you love it or hate it? First one, if they asked you to a bonfire. So we both picked hate it on that. I think I would only hate it because it's cold.
I don't like bugs, bitch. No.
See, I like bonfires, but I don't. Like right now, fireplace would be better.
So no, I would not be outside.
All right, number 2, chocolate tasting and truffle making. I love chocolate, so like I would love to go on a chocolate tasting experience.
I like white chocolate, like I like my man honey. Yeah. Ooh. So if it's a white chocolate tasting, get me in.
Oh my goodness. On that note, someone offered to take you to dancing. See, you would love that one. I would hate that. I'd be like, like, we still got to go salsa dancing.
It's
by the
planned.
Way. That's part
it's
of
planned.
Our, we got to do that. All right. They offered to take us on a date to go do video games and play Super Mario World. I don't think either of us are gamers.
I mean, just dance. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm not a just dancer either, but apparently you try to make me do it at 4 a.m. while cooking hot dogs or something.
So
I don't know.
I'm gonna be the villain here. Okay. Say this really hot twink says Valentine's Day, come over and play video games. Are you going to deny that, or are you going to not? Are you going to do it? Even if you don't know what you're playing, you're going to do it. I think.
I mean, I'm probably going to do it, and then do my best to like mess up the video game so we don't got to play no more. That's the honest. Like, I'm technically heavy, so like I could figure out something to like interfere with the video game. All right. So the next one is they offered to take us on a ghost tour.
Ooh, love it.
I think that's going to be a clear winner for us. Like I love like New Orleans and just like anything to do with
you remember
ghost
the first
history
episode
and
I said I got done on the grave. Yes, take me there. Take me there.
I forgot about that. Yes. Mary is going to haunt you, girl, on Valentine's Day. I'm going to make sure of it. All right. Someone offers to take us ice skating.
You know what? I'm going to love it because I'm okay with that because that can be, you can be ditzy and be like, I can't ice skate. Hold me. You know, you can play into that. I'm in for it. I love it.
I can see that. Ice skating is one of those things like I really would have to be in the mood, but it's a cute little romantic, so I would like it when I got there. But the idea, knowing that it's
play
cold,
into that.
I could get into it. All right, a wine bar crawl. Wine bar.
Okay,
crawl.
First of all,
so I guess like a bar crawl, but just with wine.
Okay, I'ma say this. What the fuck is a wine bar crawl?
Apparently you go to different places and drink wine.
Do you crawl on the floor?
Kentucky thing. Well, like a bar crawl is like where you hop bars, like bar hopping. Yeah, like, but you go.
I'm gonna tell you, when you said it, I'm thinking of, in the army when they're training and they're crawling on the ground.
Yeah, going underneath you're gonna be. I could see you training for the army now. Like that's the way you would train. You'd be crawling just to get to the wine on the other side.
No, you got the wine in your hand as you're crawling.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe we should make that a game. And see who's the glass needs to still be full.
It would not be full. You would drink it before you got to the other side, Leah.
No, it's a no. It's a no for me. It's a no for me.
All right. The next one, a trip to the candy store. I'm going to say love just because I like candy and chocolate and sweet things, and I'm a sweets person. So
you keep talking about chocolate, you can give somebody the wrong idea.
Whoever said it was the wrong idea? I ain't never said my preferences other than people know I like Twinks. So
okay, anyway, moving on.
The next one, a trapeze class. A trapeze class.
I'm gonna say no.
That sounds adventurous and fun. That sounds like so much fun. Like
no.
As long as I don't got to sign like a liability waiver and like they'll pay for my hospital bill.
Because you're going to bounce your ass right off that trampoline. No. No.
All right. The next one, a night at the museum. That just sounds
a no
creepy
for
fun,
me.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Seen it. Well, honestly, I used to have a sexual fantasy for Ben Stiller.
I don't even know where to go from there.
He's a hot.
Is this like a Zoolander fantasy
Zoolander.
Or like a just
not? He's a hot. Just him as a man. He's a hot Italian. I don't even know if he's Italian, but he's bow-legged. Have you ever seen him walk? I know that man got a big slung dong. I know he did.
Oh my God! All right. There we go. Ben Stiller's got a big slong dong. See, you always get on to me for saying words, and you use words like slong dong, okay? You can't make fun of me no more.
Okay, moving on.
All right. After Ben Stiller's slong dong, how about a themed dinner and movie night at home?
Oh, definitely down.
I hated that one so much, apparently, that I threw this love thing on the floor.
No, I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
No, I would be too. I'm big, I like the little intimate.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, the next one, travel around the world.
Yeah. Also,
a Turkish breakfast is what they've got.
A night in Paris.
That sounds good to me.
Something. Yugoslavia.
Yes. All right. Okay, I don't know if I want to go there, but I'll do Paris with you. So.
I mean.
All right. Roller skating.
Definitely, yes.
That sounds fun. A little adventurous. Something I'm not going to break my neck on.
Yes.
Binge watch your favorite guilty pleasure.
Porn. Yes.
Okay, I wasn't going there, but okay. All right. I see where this is going on this V-Day. Mine would be so when the 50 Shades movies came out, I always went and saw them with friends on V-Day, and if I was dating somebody at the time, they always had to wait till the next day to celebrate because I always wanted to go see that movie.
Yeah. So. I don't know what I think. Okay, honestly, mine would be The Walking Dead. Yeah,
that's a good one. You and your horror
listen.
Stuff.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with. I don't know, zombies and aliens.
All right. A poetry reading.
Yeah.
See, that's me. I'm the romantic, intimate. You take me to something where an author's about to read something.
I'll be like,
so
shut the fuck up.
Shopping. Probably depends on where we're going. So I'm gonna do a half a load on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do that.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. A walk in the park.
That could be romantic. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Find a little bush and hide away.
Karaoke.
Nah. I'm gonna say no.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Especially not for V-Day.
Because you could be into that person and then they hear you sing and be like.
Although, I will say this. You always are asking about my type. A guy that can sing will like, especially a twink that can sing. Ugh, that will have me like eating out of their hands. I cannot take it. I obsessed with people that can sing. A comedy show.
I'm good.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I don't know. A relaxing spa day.
I'm good.
That sounds amazing to me too.
I'm ticklish.
Anything with a massage. Oh. An escape room.
Oh, hell no. Yeah,
I think that would be kind of weird for V-Day.
If you've seen the movie Escape Room, no, right? Ma'am. I won't go into an escape room because I watched that motherfucking movie. No.
Glamping.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even fine with camping as long as it's in a warm place, but I know you're not. So.
Well, I could do camp.
Okay, who does this? A joint workout class?
No.
Hell no.
Because I'm gonna tell you, if it's a date and you're in the workout class and you accidentally fart, no, ma'am. I'm not farting in front of my train.
You can work out, just don't do a joint on Valentine's Day. Like, just that's weird. All right, okay, so I almost read this wrong. It says a couple's cooking class, which, as long as I get to eat, that would be okay. But as long as if I have to cook, I'm not into it. But I almost read it as a couple's looking class, and I was like, are they like talking about swingers?
Oh, shit, yeah. Listen, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to give it a love. Well, I'm going to give it a love because I like to cook. So I will cook on Valentine's Day. So, yes, I love it.
All right. And the last one here, it says your astrology fix. So it's like where they take you to a psychic and you both get your tarot cards read.
Nah.
I'm all about it. Let's do it.
Cleo. No. Mm-mm.
We need that sounds fun. We need to have a psychic on this show. We haven't had one of those yet. To read us.
I don't know how it would be.
I would probably cry because then they're going to tell me like you're going to be sad and alone your whole life. And
so, die on this day. Like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. No, I'll be down for it on the show, but no.
Okay, we'll do it on the show. Season 3, which is coming in about a month, people. So be on the lookout. We have some exciting theme shows coming. Season 3 is going to look a little different. Actually, it's actually going to look a lot different, but in such a better way. I'm excited. We will see you all there. But I guess we should introduce one way that we would have a really good Valentine's Day is to watch Mean Girls together. And because, I mean, that's just exciting and romantic and funny and all of the above. So everyone go do that. But hopefully you're joining us on V-Day to watch this interview with Daniel Franzese. We'll see you all in season 3.
We can't wait. We love you guys. Thank you for supporting. And make sure you listen on
Thank you all.
Yes.
Today we have our guest of honor for this season, someone who really needs no introduction to us. But to some of you younger listeners out there, you may not recognize him as well as we do. He is the co-host of Yes, Jesus podcast with new episodes releasing every Sunday that teach that the phrase gay Christian is not an oxymoron. You may also vaguely know him from a role he played in this film. It was a little movie in 2004. No one really remembers it that well. So, but I think he's pretty proud of it. And
so much
that's Mean Girls. That's right. We have Daniel Franzese, which is really, really hard last name to say for a rural
white
boy.
People, yeah, I know it's hard. It's like you guys usually give up around like the second vowel, and then it just becomes like Italian alphabet. After that.
Well, we're from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know, everybody always pronounces that Louisville and
not
Louisville,
me because I went to the Actors Theater of Louisville for like workshops in the summer, like when I was 19. So
okay.
That's great. Well, we are so happy to have you on this show, and I think the best way to start it off is with your Instagram username, which is "What's up, Danny?"
That's what's up.
What's going on?
No, hi everybody. Thanks for having me.
We obviously have so much we want to talk to you today about, but let's talk about life after you were cast as Damian, or before you were cast as Damian, that kind of sparked your career. So, Leah, I'll let you kick off.
So, hello, how are you?
Hi,
Great
Leah.
to see you.
Good to be seen. Good to see you.
So we know that with Yes Jesus podcast that you are a Christian loving gay. Did that originate from a religious family growing up?
I mean, yeah, my parents, they converted from Catholicism to Christianity, which is, they're the same, but not, a lot of different sacraments and stuff. And when I was born, they named me Daniel, which means God is my judge. I don't got a middle name. My middle name is like a middle finger. They were just like, so I just didn't have to worry. I always felt like I had a little bit of like an activist in me, just knowing that I had nobody to answer to but God, and I could just be myself. And, it was the world that told me different, and God that told me, no, I still love you the way you are. So I want to spread that message to anyone that could hear it, because I needed to hear it when I was little.
Yes, we love that. Yes.
Yeah. I'm also pretty spiritual myself. I particularly wore the Y'all Need Jesus shirt today for this, for the Ask Jesus podcast guest.
I was hoping mine came in the mail today. I have a new one that says, I'm praying for these hoes. Like, that's the one that I really was
looking at. Yes, love it. Obviously, I know with me, I lived in a rural area. I grew up Christian, and I had a little bit of a tough time coming out to family. So how did your family kind of react to you once you came out?
Well, it's interesting because we had a very big family. My grandfather had 12 brothers, and they all lived on the same street with all their families in Brooklyn. So like my mom growing up, her generation, like all her cousins were her best friends. Like, so we grew up like all real close. So definitely we had some gays up in that mix, you know what I'm saying? And I think that the way I would describe it was like lovingly tolerated, as opposed to, if not understood, if not like, and it wasn't discriminated against, but they would be able to sit next to each other at the weddings, and we understood that, the lesbians wore pants and the gays had an open button shirt or whatever. And it was always just like, the gays in the family. So to me, I think that like I saw it, but it wasn't like clear to me. Like even in all of the gay people in our family all had separate bedrooms, which is something that now as a gay man sounds really amazing. Like I was like, if I'm gonna live with somebody, I might want a separate bedroom, but I didn't get the idea of it, as far as heteronormativity, because you had kids and then the kids took the other bedrooms. But if you had an extra one, maybe you would have your own, But in the world of heteronormativity and in the like high productivity of like Catholic off the boat Italians, like it was just not the way. So to me, I was kind of good at a lot of things when I was little. Like I could talk before I could walk, and I could spell really early, and I had 8th grade reading level in kindergarten, and I was a little show bear since like the day I was born, little circus bear, but I think that like being straight's like what I failed at.
Yeah.
So that's like, and to me, I felt like I was failing God somehow.
Right. Did you often hear the phrase, love the sinner, hate the sin?
Yeah,
that sort of phrase.
Those kind of things are like kind of offensive to me. That's like some of my best friends are gay. Like it's like no, like
right.
That doesn't make you an ally. Like there's other things that have to happen along. We learn so much now. We learn so much more, and I feel like I like to keep things light. I'm a comedian, like I'm funny or something, but like, but like I feel like we still got to be real first, and like LGBTQ people lost like a generation of like teachers and authors and writers and clergy people and all these other kind of people to AIDS. And it's like, so my generation kind of was like this feral generation of like gays trying to figure out how to do what and where and whatever. And so I feel like it's the new elders at this point. It's our mission to sort of like double tell as much as we can, share the stories of people who maybe died with their tails because they didn't have families that accepted them or understood. They didn't have shows like Looking or Pose or whatever to show different kinds of storylines and show people, because that's how we reach people as artists, by going in there, getting in their homes. Everybody knows Pray Tell on Pose. So it's like that's what you get inside their living room, you know? And I think that that's what it is. And I tell that to any young person that's like, what's the greatest thing that you could do as a performer that's trying to make it? And I say, just put yourself in your work, because like, honestly, like every single thing I got made fun of is a reason I'm cashing a check today. You know what I'm saying? Like I took it up to God, and God turned my pain point into a paid point. And so I'm anointed anointed to be disjointed. And so I'm here to tell all the crazies out there, all the people who feel like they don't belong, like that God loves them. And I mean, that's a very simple thing for me to say and believe. And I'll say it as loud as anybody will hear it.
Okay. Yeah. Amen.
That's so true. So obviously we would make a lot of fans mad if we did not talk about the gay iconic role that you portrayed in your youth. But I just want to send a personal thank you, because that was the first gay role that I ever saw on television. And I remember watching that movie and thinking, you know, I may not be too gay to function, but I do still think I like men. So how close is the character Damian to your actual personality?
I think when I spoke about what Damian was going to be like, I knew that I was going to go all in. I always try to go all in on everything I do. And so I was like, oh, am I going to get blonde tips? And am I going to be like, hey, girl, like down the hallway? And they were kind of like, no, they were like, I think it's you're gay and you're deep down and you're okay with it. But you're kind of in that sweet spot between figuring out who you are and that first kiss.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, what a sweet, like loving place to play it, because gays have such tragic stories, or like, you know, Damian could have already been like a bitch because he had been like messed with, or you know, but he wasn't. It was like he just kind of was in this innocence that we don't get to see a lot. And I think that that's what resonated so much with people. And I think that, I mean, now it's actually interesting because to watch Gray Henson's performance, his Tony nominated performance as Damian in the musical of Mean Girls, like that was incredible, because he talked about like having affairs at summer stock and like, you know, dating people, and he was a fully fledged teen of today. But for 2004, I think Damian, one of the sweetest letters I got was from a girl who said that she was Southern from Texas, and like that she had a gay best friend from school and she was never allowed to like really have him over. But then after Mean Girls came out, the mom was like, he's Damian, like bring him over kind of thing. Like Damian became like a descriptor. He's a Damian, you know? And for a lot of people, good and bad, like another guy said he got beat up because he was chubby and tortured for being a sissy in middle school. And then the movie came out. And on his freshman day of high school, the popular senior girls were like, you're like Damian, come sit with us. And he was popular for all of high school. And he's like, people called me in, and it used to bother me at first, but then it became something I was proud of. So there's this whole group of people, and of all different genders and all different colors and all different kinds of people who felt like they identified with the other, which is like what Damian represented at that time. You know, there wasn't a lot of other in Hollywood teen kind of movies. Wow. And I think that all of those people, you know, they're my house of Glen Coco. Like, that's why I say I have the house of Glen Coco. Like, you know, they stuck with me, and I'm glad I could be something that I needed, because I didn't have anything in media when I was a kid that I could look at and say,
yes,
that's me.
yes, you know? Yeah, definitely relate to that. That's amazing.
Except maybe the club kids on Geraldo. I was like, oh, I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, we all watched that show. That's a really old show. No, many people don't remember Geraldo. Telling my age.
I was in the movie Party Monster of the club kids, so I do know all the club kids. But I was that's what I watched, and that was the one thing that I saw that like had kind of representation. I was like, do I have to go to New York and become a club kid and wrap myself in bubble wrap dresses just to get like just to feel comfortable? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Daniel, one of our listeners, LK Farrell, submitted a question. He asks, in 2014, you wrote a coming out letter to Damian. Did he ever write you back, or did he ghost you?
Oh my God, that's so cute. I don't think Damian could ever ghost me, because I'm living with Damian right now. Like, I feel like this character has given so many people. I mean, even you said it, Kurtis. Like, I think that's so sweet of you to say something like that. But if it meant that much to you, and you said something, there's 1,000 people who didn't say anything. And I know that I know that character really like reached so many people, and I'm happy. I'm happy that it gave people a table at their friends' dinners in their friends' homes, or that it let a guy have someone to sit with at lunch, or that it stopped someone from getting their head shoved in a locker or a toilet. Like, I think that was I mean, I was scared. I was closeted at the time when I played the part, but I did it because like I knew it pushed the envelope, and I knew I was like, if I'm going to play gay, it's going to be something like this that's progressive and doesn't just make fun of gay people for just being gay.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So a lot of our listeners are actually rural youth, kids that are in high school, just like Damian was, and they are dealing with something that is very different than what we had whenever we went to school, and they have dealt with the times of COVID. So how do you think that Damian would have spent his quarantine time, and where would he be now?
I tell you, there's a part of me that feels bad for y'all that had to miss a lot of things, like your graduations, or your dances, or some of that stuff. Because I was talking about it with a friend earlier, and I thought high school was going to be like Grease or like Saved by the Bell. I was ready to be like, we go together. I'll take them to tater tots. You know, like, give me some more chicky tendies. It's not like that. Like, it kind of sucked, just like everything else does. Like, and I think that maybe your generation, like, is going to be the generation that's going to contribute so much to the future, because you have the time to sort of like be better at watercolor on TikTok. I know that doesn't seem like something that you really want to do, but it's something I want to do, and I don't have a lot of time to do. Right. I'm just saying, like, there's things that like you're gonna and maybe you'll be the best party throwers of the future. You'll have the most badass weddings, and your kids will have the most bomb like bat mitzvahs and sweet 16s because you didn't have it. So you're just bringing like a whole renaissance of parties coming. So I think work really hard, get as much knowledge as you can in these years when the parties are BS anyway, and then really just like live a whole happy life of just like chilling with your family. That's gonna be great. So that's my prayer and wish for this generation.
Yeah, that's really great. And it's funny that you was having that conversation with your friend. I was having a conversation with my coworker a few days ago about I wish high school for me was like Euphoria. Like, it's crazy.
Just for the outfits alone. I was so bored of looking at everybody from the same Walmart and Target stuff. I was like, come on.
I was
like, somebody break out a modified jumpsuit.
I was like, I haven't seen that many cocks. Like, seriously, unless you're in the locker room. So Kurtis always look at me.
Or like a chicken farm. I don't know. Like, either way.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I know, sign me up too.
I've never been one to give away a free meal.
Hey, so like, that's what I'm talking about. Hey.
Girls gotta eat, baby.
Right. Okay. You may have answered this, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask this. When you read the script for Damian, did you think the LGBTQ community would love your character as much as they do, or did you have any fears about playing that role?
I thought that it was good. I felt like the too gay to function is the only bad thing that's said about Damian in the movie. They never called him fat. They never were like, that guy's gay. Ew. They weren't anything like that about him. He just like was there. And I think that subtle acceptance that like, I mean, he was about gender neutral bathrooms before anyone. Like, Damian was like in the girls' bathroom. Like, it was shocking back then. Now, gay kids might be able to pull that off. Like, but back then that was like, what the hell? He's in the girls' bathroom. Like, it was like, in 2004, you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I was in clubs in the girls' bathroom with my girlfriends. So I was like, now I'm like seeing that. Like, that's something that nobody knew about us. Like, in the gay clubs, we'd all be in both bathrooms all the time. And I felt like just little subtle things like that really made a difference and gave like a little heart to, all these stories. We've been hearing so many sad stories. Like I said, it was nice to see like a funny story that wasn't stereotypical.
Yeah.
Not to go into sad stories, but going into kind of the rural gay experience. Whenever I watched that movie, I recall one line specifically, and I didn't relate as much to Damian's character as I remember this line about the Remington bolt-action rifle, and the one that God invented for fighting the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. Right. So that was like the area that I lived in. I could see anybody saying that line. What would you say to those kids growing up in those environments still today about some of those like false religious beliefs and unaccepting behavior?
I just think, it really came clear when we all talk about how love is love, because honestly, like, anybody who follows the teachings of Jesus Christ, or anybody who follows God and wants to live a godly, loving life, knows that love is in the details, and love is who you are, and love is in the little tiny special things that God made you and the little gifts that God gave you. Like anybody that can't concentrate on that and is concentrating on the hate too much is just not doing it right. Like it's just too, like I think I call them Christians, like, you know, like really they think they're so special, they think they're so perfect. It's like it's not even that. Like I feel like God doesn't want anybody that's perfect. Like we're all here as broken people, and we're all here kind of asking questions. I'm not perfect. And when it comes to like separating the sin and the sinner, just like I think we're realizing that there's a whole gender and sexuality spectrum. I really think there's a spirituality spectrum as well. And I think that spectrum includes the ability to find a place where you could not slut shame yourself and just be able to experience everything that you want to experience in this world, like, and do the things you want to do as long as they're consensual and they come from a place of like goodness and heart and the idea of like pleasuring each other. And sex could be like a stress reducer. Sex can be something that helps you like gain more confidence and wake you up about things. And sex can be a way to test out a husband or a wife and try to see a partner and try to see what kind of qualities you like, or learn some skills and the way to please them from someone who's just dumb and pretty. Like, you know, there's a lot of things and everyone doesn't have to be the special package. And I think part of the puritanical heteronormative culture has taught us that we have to want certain things as a gender, or want certain things as sexuality, that we need to hold up to some certain standards. And as queer people become more and more accepted and they have more cul-de-sac lives with like the cute babies and the whole thing and the whole dream, I don't want them to lose their fierce queerness. Like our sexuality has been formed by years and years and years of oppression and years of us like having to put things in the shadows that we're sorry if we think dark rooms are sexy. Like we can't help it. You've been pushing us in them for hundreds of years. So it's kind of like, so I kind of feel like, I'm sorry. Like, I think that part of those, we can have those kind of moments. We can have those kind of freeing moments. It's our privilege as a queer person to be sexual. And I think that every time you give a blowjob, you are doing like a political act. And I feel like and anytime you're holding your boyfriend or girlfriend's hand in public, you're doing the same. And I feel like the best thing, nobody cares about what you're doing in your bedroom except the people who care too much. Okay. So to those people, you have to say, forget it. I really don't want to know what my pastor is doing in his bedroom. He does not have to know what's going on at mine. He or she. Okay. Right. Or they. And the way I feel is like, they just, whoever you are, you don't need to know what's going on unless you're putting it out there. Then we're going to comment on it. If you go to OnlyFans, trust and believe I'm going to put a heart and a great one. You got a good one on you. Like,
right.
but if you're putting it out there for a comment, that's one thing. But if you have a private life, that's your private life. So nobody should ever judge you. And just like my name says, Daniel, like only God is your judge. So those people need to just, and here's something that I feel bad. I do pray and pity and have empathetic feelings for the haters, because, you know, it doesn't say anything clear about homosexuality in the Bible, because in the Bible, there wasn't even such thing as that back then. They didn't have a name for it. There weren't people that were trying to do that like in that way. Gay sex was just sex with a man, like, and so it was like it was a different kind of thing. And the word homosexual was added to the Bible in 1946. And there's all these different perspectives you could take on Joseph's dream coat, and how that dream coat in 46 AD was actually a ketanit pasim, which meant a princess dress. So Joseph was probably genderqueer, or maybe even a trans person of color. But these perspectives are kept from us. Somebody sits up there on the pulpit, holds a book, and then sits out there and points and tells us what we need to do. When it's our job as true Christians to look inside the mirror of the Bible and try to find what it is that it's trying to say to me. It's not about what it's trying to say to my sister, or unless I'm praying about that. Then I'm praying for what I need to say to my sister, because the Bible's not going to speak to her unless she reads it. You can't read it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the whole thing. It's like you have to interpret it. It's your own thing. And these people that are Bible pointers and thumpers, they're just not it. Like, I think the true spirituality of God is finding the beauty in everyone and everything, and trying to live in that kind of a consciousness, and trying to like travel this world, trying to make everybody's life a little bit easier by you being a part of the world. We all just trying to survive. If you are like a famous person with like, if you're with $1 billion, if you're one of the Kardashians, or if you're a baby that was left by a woman in an unfortunate situation in a dumpster, okay? Whatever the situation is, both of those jobs are to survive the flood or whatever. And so it's like, we just want to do it as comfortably as possible without hurting as least people as possible. And I think that those people, I pity them, because I feel like there will be a judgment day, and there will be a day that they will be faced with judgment on the things that they've done in their life. And it says very clearly in the Bible that that will be judged by the way you judged others. So their weight of judgment is going to be on how much they judge you. Now, when it hurts, when someone says to you, "Oh, you're a fatty, fat," or whatever it is that would have got my little 11-year-old heart. Whatever gets your little 11-year-old heart, that's the thing that God's saying, that's what I did to make you different. That's what I did to make you special. When you hear your pain point, bitch, it's your paid point. I get paid for being fat. People love me as the chubby big guy. I'm still sexy if I want to be on shows like Looking. I could go be ugly if I want to be. But this is who my body type is. I'm comfortable with who I am in my skin. I love myself. And honestly, I tell people all the time, self-love is such a huge part of being connected to God. So forget Valentine's Day, because I'm like this and that, right? That should be a self-love day for you. Because honestly, if you're Valentine's Day is a stupid holiday that I feel like is created for unromantic people to be reminded by 100 different CVSs that they have to be romantic on one day. It is a corporate holiday, okay? If I love you and you're with me, trust me, every day is Valentine's Day. I got Valentine's Day off. You better be rubbing my feet. But that's what I say to these people who feel like they feel left out and they feel unloved and they feel that kind of you have to find the beauty in your imperfections. Truly, it may start with lying to yourself, but all of that is God's message. So these people who give you the hard thing, it's like you can't call what God made junk. I get so sad. I'm just gonna go on a rant right now. You're gonna have me preaching in this room.
That's good.
Now. Listen,
no, but I'll tell you,
that's what we need.
And I'm ready to shout, honey.
Well, I'm telling you right now, feel free to shout up in it, because this is I don't want to just derail the conversation, but I'm gonna tell you, I was with Azariah, my co-host, and we were at the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race, and it was so much fun. We dressed to the 9s.
Yeah.
Everybody was dressed to the 11s. We were clacking fans and screaming for our head off for the queens, as we should. And we had so much fucking fun. And then when Ru came out, it was bananas. Okay. It was like bananas in pajamas. And it was unbelievable. People were screaming. And I was like, man, this is church. I was like, they just got it so one notch on the dial off. When you kind of hear Spanish music playing over the pop station by accident when you go through a tunnel. I was like, they're just one section off. And I'm just like, if they took this to church, the rewards that God could give them for this kind of a vibration, and it's misguided because gay people were lied to, queer people, LGBTQ people, IA+, we were lied to. We were told that it wasn't for us. Our dear Jesus is asexual. Or are you saying he had sex and had sexual thoughts about Mary Magdalene? Because you had a big uproar about that when Martin Scorsese suggested it in The Last Temptation of Christ. There was boycotts and everything else. Our Jesus doesn't have sexual thoughts. Then he's asexual and he's in our LGBTQ rainbow umbrella.
Yeah.
He would have been in the front of the Pride Parade holding that pride flag like this with all of the sinners. And who gives a fuck? I say truly, it's important to know that. It's important to know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And, and I don't know, I lost my train of thought. I'm excited thinking about it.
So one thing before we jump into this next segment, I saw the statistic the other day that percentage-wise for Christians and people going to church, every statistic and demographic was going down except for one. And that one demographic was LGBTQ community, and it's going up.
Right, because we miss it.
That was just
because we
neat.
woke the F up. We said, wait a second. As soon as they said we could get married, we were like, oh, what happened to could we get married here? No? What do you mean?
Right.
We can't have your cake. We can't go inside the Catholic Church because they don't bust in. But I thought we're legally married. Hold on a second. Should you still be tax exempt?
Yeah.
And we started to wake up and wondering these kind of questions and saying these kind of things. And it takes allies to speak up. It takes our allies to speak the most, because they know we want it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. There's a lot of these churches, and I know y'all see them in the South. They sound like gyms. They're energized, pump, surge church, whatever you want to call them, right? And they'll let gay people come in, and they'll let you hold hands with your boyfriend and wear matching vests, wear pastels on Easter, and because you add color to the church, and they'll let you sit in the front and they'll let you hold hands and everything else, but they won't marry you, and they won't let you ride to roles of leadership in that church. And if you have a child, the child can't go to the school because the policy of the greater church, who pays your pastor's check, is saying no. I asked some of these churches that I like around the room, because I love a good church, and there's an amazing church on here. And I said, are you guys LGBTQ affirming? And they go, I don't really know, but everyone's welcome. I said, no. I said, but I want to know, like, are you affirming? Like, you know, like, it's not just about being welcome in the doors. It's about, you know, you're a public institution. I can walk in any public institution I want. You're not private. So like, that's not the point. The point is, like, can people work there? Well, I don't know about policy, but Pastor so-and-so loves everyone. Like, see, that's a shady situation for me. Like, because I can't get baptized there, and I can't get married there, but you'll take my pink dollars, you'll take my pink money, right. You know, and it's gonna take, like I said, you know, talking to like a pregnant woman, for instance, and saying, "Excuse me, like, you know, an affirming gay ally pregnant woman who goes to a church. Are you pregnant? Congratulations, that's amazing. Like, are you going to raise your baby in the church? Of course, my baby's going to go to Sunday school. Well, that's amazing. Like, you know, because that's how I grew up. I loved it. It was good. I'll be like, but what if your baby ends up being gay? When your baby's like 13, 16, comes to you and says, I'm gay. Well, I'll love my baby no matter what. Well, I think that's also amazing. Well, what if the church says to you, well, your baby's not welcome here? Well, then I'll take him out of the church. So why submit the baby to 13 to 16 years of secret, subliminal, unwelcoming vibes? Like, you know, when you're pregnant, find out that your church is gay affirming in the event that your child might be gay. So you know that the church that you're putting your money into, that you're building a foundation with, that you're building a community with, and a network of spiritual warriors and people that are praying on your family. You don't want them praying against your child. Like, do you know what I'm saying? This is what we have to figure out now.
Absolutely.
If you're affirming, you need to know now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I found, it's the same way. Like, I think we've learned so much from the Black Lives Matter movement. I think, which was like way overdue and way needed. And I think just beginning. And there's so much more work to do with it. But what we have learned is George Washington, you know, didn't have no wooden teeth. He had the teeth of his slaves and wooden gums. And they just made us paint. Why was I cutting up some fake wooden teeth in kindergarten? Stop teaching me fake stuff. We need critical race theory. We need to have LGBTQ history classes. We need to have comprehensive sexual education. Some people don't even know the history of HIV and AIDS, or that it's still out there, and that the rise in and things are growing, and the rise of new infections. And we need to make sure that these kids know what PrEP is, so they can prepare themselves and take it, you know, and not be afraid of things like that. And so there's nobody, you know, I go to Washington and I said it, and I was like, oh, maybe one day I could be like a mayor or something. But I have more effect coming on your podcast and talking directly to people like your listeners. And that way your listeners are more equipped with things to say when they get conversations in their homes, because that's where it matters, than me trying to pass some law or a bill where the politician is just worried about who's going to pay the money for their next time that they're going to run for office.
Yeah. And
So true.
I think our listeners definitely there's a lot to learn from this interview, because, I mean, this is some amazing information.
Well, it's an anniversary issue. We had to go good. We had to go right.
Oh,
One of the things is, like, I really want to make sure I say it, is be an example of love.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Because if you're walking around as a gay person and you're loving your partner and you're just giving them all the love in the world, everyone's going to want that and see that and want that for themselves. And they're going to see you and they go, you're in love, and look at those dads and look at those moms and look at them and look at they and how much they all are in love. And, like, I think that's what people are. An example of love is the best thing you could be, because God is love.
Amen. Yes.
Yes, Jesus.
Okay, so I have to ask a question, because, like, I'm gonna derail from my script for a minute, because this is setting on me, because I'm feeling the spirit right now.
Yes.
I'm encouraged, and I'm okay. So I'm a performer,
and highly favored.
Yes. I'm a performer. I perform locally here at the Bar Play. I've been performing 30 years plus. I grew up in Texas. I'm very spiritual. I was Catholic, born Catholic, but became Baptist. And you know how we carry on in the Baptist churches and stuff. So I grew up with gospel music. I want your opinion, because listening to you, you know, I've been so stuck, you know, doing like the top 40s and stuff like that. And I do love my spiritual music. Sometimes I want to do my spiritual music on the show. Do you think it's inappropriate for me to do a gospel song on the show? Because I feel like I'm relaying a message.
Are you kidding me? This is the kind of stuff that you have some church hurt with right now. Okay, because here's the thing: is it ever a wrong time to say hallelujah?
No,
or give God some praise, or use some of the gifts that you've been given?
No.
When God gives you gifts, that's God shining a light on you. Okay, and when you use those gifts, that's you becoming a reflective surface so you can push that light onto other people and give them an opportunity to bask in it.
Right.
So you are honoring God anytime you're using your gifts, baby. It doesn't matter what. I had somebody on Reddit say, because I'm all up in the gay Christian stuff, Reddit, trying to just like send a message out. But like, there's one person on Reddit who said, should I stop drawing erotic art? It's like my passion, but I'm afraid that it might help someone slip into some sin. And I was like, you're not responsible for their sin. Like, eroticism is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it can be used for many things. It could arouse couples together. It could be something that people just appreciate for your shading and your nuance of color. Like, there's lots of reasons art inspires. So if God gave you a gift, do it, pursue it. There's nothing sinful about that. And I think trying to mix those things are things that other people told us. See, this is where I was getting to before. Like, when we were at the RuPaul's Drag Race finale, we take us back there for a minute, right? Like, people think it's weird when you want to like raise your hand and praise God, or you want to like feel God's presence or whatever, or if someone God forbid fainted or something, people would be like, oh my God, that's so crazy, look at that holy roller or whatever. But you'll see them doing all that shit in the front row of like a Justin Bieber concert, or a Gaga concert. It's like at some point gay people were just told you can't have God, but it's okay to like have Gaga. Like, even Beyonce's like, you know, I'm not Jesus, I don't walk on water. Like, do you know what I mean? She's got to come up with a whole song about it to let y'all know, like, I'm not Christ. Like, just because the whole problem with it is that we were told somewhere that was a lie. Like, I'm asking you, I know you got something good, Leah. What's your prize? Like, something that's like your prized possession. Like, if there was a fire, you were gonna like grab it and run out of the house. Like what's like a fashion fave, or like, do you have a pet? Amy, do you got a pet? Anybody? Kurtis,
I don't have a pet, but I have my pageant crowns that I've won.
Okay,
I got
your
drag.
pageant crowns. No, let me ask you a question. Right now. Can I have one of your pageant crowns?
Oh, of course. I got like 40.
No. Can I have? What if I wanted all of them?
Oh no.
It'd be a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because
Why?
I worked so hard.
Right, but can I have your God?
Yes.
Can I have your God? You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? When someone comes out of the closet, they say you can't have your God. And they take it with you at the door, like a passport, and they try to take God away from gay people. Yeah. They say God doesn't want you in this house. You can't have him anymore.
Right.
God is my center. God is my keystone. Like, I would be off in orbit without God in my life.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've seen the worst in Hollywood. I mean, just look at every movie and project I've ever done on IMDb. Google the entire cast, and almost one in each one has been to rehab, or has died, or has been in trouble. I've seen the worst of the worst, but the difference between me and them is I have God. I am not perfect by any means.
Right.
I have passed out drunk. I have done all kinds of crazy things in my youth. I do not want to be judged upon who I was at 22 by any means. But I want to tell the 22-year-old that's listening that doesn't mean you can't have God. Like, you can go to the club and do cocaine and go home and suck a dick and still love God. Like, whatever. I'm just saying, like, that's not maybe the way that you might want to live. That's not gonna, that kind of existence doesn't always, like, it doesn't always make a lasting life. It doesn't always make someone that can sustain or build other things. It depends on what you want out of life. If you want all the great things that God has to offer, like a loving partner and a family and all these other things, then you're going to have to make sacrifices that other people won't do.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to give up a lot of that kind of a lifestyle. I'm not in a judgmental way, but in a practical way, right? But that has nothing to do with God.
Yeah.
God's with you through all of that. He's with you at your worst time. He's with you crying drunk on the corner. Like, you ever see the footprints in the sand thing? God's with you the whole way. The only people that love you from the time you were born to the time you die and are with you the entire time is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. To me. Like, everybody else kind of fails. You know, family might die or trail off or go somewhere. You might lose someone, you know, whatever. And they might not be there the moment you fall, but God will always be there. Don't turn your back on God. Don't let people will say, "Oh, my Louis Vuitton. Oh, my puppy Rocky."
Yeah.
If I wanted to take your dog or your Louis or your crowns, would you let me? No. So, but we so easily give up God.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to me, because if that's something that you truly believe in, if that's something that you felt the miracles, if you've like felt things, if you've seen God do a work in your life.
Yeah.
If you know that God is real, if God is someone that I don't even care, because to me, someone can be like, I'm straight all day. But at the end of the day, when you're all alone in the room and your hand are in your pants, what are you doing? What are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to, you can tell yourself what you are. Like, do you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what makes you hot and what makes you not, right?
Right.
But it's the same thing. At the end of the day, if you're sitting alone in your room and you really are talking to God, and you're talking to God like a father who's like been with you forever, then you know already.
Yeah.
And you're letting someone else tell you no. And that's fucked up.
That is, yeah.
What else to say about it? You know what I mean? I try to be as real as possible because I don't want to be Danny like in a suit, you know, and show up at church and be Danny in a suit, and then you're going to catch me all up in a leather harness at the Eagle.
Yeah.
Both Dannys exist.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to be like a full, fluid, sexual, human man and like gay man and like love that. And I could love that and embrace that about myself and still have God in my life.
Right.
So like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm not perfect. I'm just looking for the answers. And that's what we do on the podcast. We try to find the answers together. We don't know, you know?
Yeah.
We don't know either.
Wow.
We don't call it Bible study. We call it Bible wondering because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually perfect time with all this spiritual stuff. Let's talk a little bit about your podcast. How did that come to be, and like what brought you all to do that podcast?
You know, well, I had said to God, I had made a deal with God in my head that if I could just pretend I'm straight and be a liar for a little bit, that I promised when I came out, my platform would be about gays can love God and be gay. Like I said that, just let me get through this point. Let me make some movies. Let me make some money. But God's funny, like my biggest movie, I was still being something that was closer to myself than anything. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you try to, you want to make
got
God...
a sense of humor.
What'd you say?
I said he, she, they has a sense of humor.
Yes, yes. You know, actually, one thing that's interesting about talking about God when it comes to gender is that we found out in the podcast is that the he in the Bible was actually ye, which is what Kanye West changed his name to. And that with a capital, that was a pronoun that was reserved only for God. So God is genderless and is always meant to be referred to as genderless. But the printing press changed it to a he. So in actuality, when we do refer to God as him, we're referring to the capital H-I-M, the Gaga references, which has nothing to do with gender. So I don't speak of a God that's like some old white man with like a big old beard. Like that ain't my idea of God at all. If that is your idea of God, I think it is extremely limiting to what God could be. God is all powerful. God is all of us. You know, I think that God would have a better chance, you know, of you know, looking like something like an alien than looking like any of us, you know, any one gender. So to me, like, but that's beside the point. The point is, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think that I was making a masculine gendered God as my choice of pronouns because that's important. I think that it's important that people know these perspectives are not new. Like something like that gender perspective on God was a shock to me now to learn while I was working on the podcast from our deacon, Ross Murray, who is a deacon over at GLAD. He is also the media trainer at GLAD, and he is our producer. I met him when I did the show Looking. I was the first character on television within 6 years time to be, my character was HIV positive, and there hadn't been another HIV positive storyline. So they had to train me for hours and hours on all of the current statistics and everything on media. And Ross trained me, and we met there. And when I found out he was a deacon, I shared my love of Christ with him. And we've always been fond of each other. But when this project happened, which you asked, which was the original question, we were planning on doing it. This was my promise. And then, you know, when the pandemic hit, we were like, why not now? And Azariah, who's like my bestie, we like smoke weed and talk about God all the time. And we were like, let's do this on the air. And let's like, kind of, you know, people should be hearing some of these conversations. Like, I'm not alone meeting you and you're not alone meeting me. Like other people probably would want to hear this. And so, you know, we linked up with Oddity and Jessica Bustillos, who's our executive. She was so impassioned about this project. And in the process of it came out as a lesbian, left her marriage, but her husband is, you know, her ex-husband still works with us on the show. We're all one, but you know, it was just so many incredible, unbelievable things have come out of the show. We've gotten people from Tokyo and Chile and Paris and all over the US, especially in the South, who like listen in and you leave us praise reports and prayer requests and talk to us. And so this is bigger than me. I'm like, it's hard to do every Sunday to record. And sometimes we record 2 episodes on a Sunday if we have a guest to try to bank some in case some emergency comes up. But you know, it's a big dedication for the past 3 seasons to you know, do this in our lives. But I don't think I could live without it. It is my church. Like I love these people. And so, I mean, you know, so much has happened. I got fired from a Catholic university after, you know, the Pope made a statement from the Vatican saying that they wouldn't allow same-sex marriages. They fired me right after that. And then they used the podcast titles against me. Like some of the funnier ones, like Jesus is the OG zombie.
Wow.
And like, but
Wow.
some of that stuff, and also, can you thank God for a good blowjob, which I knew was controversial, but like the whole point is like, if you listen, the thing is if you listen to the podcast, we talk about eat, pray, love, and about how the love is sometimes sex, and how like some people will be false and say like, thank God, oh, I really thank Jesus, I needed that cruise, but like you were like blowing the bellboy the whole cruise, so you're thanking Jesus for that, like low key, like in a veiled thank you, instead of just saying thanks God for that beautiful trip that was filled with food, friends, sex, and love, and like like it could be part of the gratitude. Like it doesn't have to be this dirty little secret that we've like pushed under some kind of a rug.
Right.
If you're doing it, you should stand behind it. Otherwise, there's something is shady about what you're doing. Like, and if you want to feel full and like unequivocally like free with your sexuality, then you really need to have some resolution with your spirituality, if that's something that you possess. Because if you're turning your back on it, you're never going to fully have a fully realized sexuality. And I think unless you go all the way to the dark side, and I say that by where you have soul stealing sex, which I think that like sex work is work. I'm all for like people who are strippers or dancers or something like that. But if you're doing that in a way where it's eating you alive, and you're doing it in a way where it's not feeding your soul and feeding yourself, and like I said, then you have to double check yourself. That's your discernment. That's part of the gifts that God gives you. But if you're blacking God out, you're losing your discernment, and you can get lost in a very dark world and of doing very dark things. So I'm just concerned like about the souls of the Christians that judge gay people, and I'm concerned about the souls of the gay people who listen to those stupid assholes. You know what I mean? Like I'm more concerned about people just kind of saying like, I want to be, everyone always wants to be centered. It's so weird how everyone wants to do everything but Jesus. Like they're like, oh, I'll pray to a rock, it's got like this great energy, and I'll throw it in the sun, and they'll be like, oh, or I'll like, no, my God is Gaga, like or it'll be fashion, and everything will be labels, because that somehow brings them, they think, closer to divinity, when really divinity is in you. God is in all of us.
And gays, like, we reclaim everything, so why don't we reclaim the church?
That's where I'm at. Me and
too.
Azzy call it reclaiming our pride. Like Azariah, okay, this is Azariah Southworth, my co-host. I wish he was here. You should have him on. You should have him on as guest. But Azariah was on TBN, on the Trinity Broadcasting Network, which was the Christian channel, and he was the host of a show called Remixed, where he was touring with all of the different Christian bands, and he was kind of like their Carson Daly, and he was really getting kind of great secular numbers because it was about music, and people were like finding things out. And then once he came out as gay, like he lost it all. Like the Lord gave him a gift and like the ability to go and be in media and do such a wonderful thing. And then after that, he works in a bank, which is not a sad tale because he's great and he makes great money.
Yeah.
But I said to him, you need to get back in front of the camera. You need to be on this thing, because that was your calling that God gave you. You were doing works in people's life. You were bringing God to people through music. Like, and through your gifts of being able to be a music fan. And he was so geeky about the musicians, and he knew all their stats and everything, and he toured with them and gave up a lot of his life, that he completely got the rug pulled out of him just because he was queer.
Wow.
And to me, that's what it's about. It's about reclaiming it. It's about being the fully realized version of who you are in every aspect. I love that the rainbow is the symbol for the LGBTQI plus community. One, because it's God's promise also, but also because there's so many colors, and especially with the progress flag, when I look at that, like there's so many different colors on that rainbow, that there's so many different colors of us. There's so many different sides of us. Like we really have to be able to explore all of those different sides in order, like we got one life. We're on this earth one time. It's like we need to be able to feel all of that stuff. And I think that there's a way to do all of that stuff and still honor God.
Yeah.
I don't think that God necessarily cares if you're like making out with a stranger on Molly. Like I don't. Like, I mean, maybe don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that that's the thing that God's like, well, now you can't enjoy the fruits of heaven and you'll never see a doggy from middle school again. No, I don't see that kind of, to me, that's not my spirituality. My God is a loving God and a forgiving God and a God of grace and mercy. And my God is somebody who teaches me and gives me the discernment to do give me the strength to do things that I don't want to do. and gives me the ability to see, who's right for me in my life and who's not right for me in my life, and someone that I can come to at any hour of need, a therapist. It's like that song, a preacher, teacher, lawyer, like God's like all of it for me,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know that song. I can't think of the song right now, but I love it.
Well, we can tell that this is your passion.
I sound like I'm totally like walking around like God. I swear, I'm not like one of those people with like. There's a guy in LA who's got a cardboard box and it says Jesus is love, and he just dances like this, like on the street all day. Like that is not me. Like I live a normal, healthy existence. But you tapped into my spiritual part,
Yes.
and I think that I could talk just as. And I think it's important that people know I could talk just as like candid on a sexuality podcast about sex. I think that people are multi-faceted individuals, and I think that we're tapping into this right now. But I think it's an important message and an unheard story for a lot of people. Please, if you're listening and you're curious about any of this, I would urge you to listen to Yes Jesus. We have episodes in just about everything, and if you don't see something that you want to know about, like I would love for someone to write us on yesjesuspod.com and tell us, because we would love to answer your stories. And I want to challenge the three of you to give me a praise report and a prayer request at some point in the year. Just some point, surprise me and come on to our yesjesuspod.com, and at the bottom there's a little recording, and you could leave us a little recording. I'd love to have you hear like some good news.
Yeah.
I know that HIV has become something that you're very active in the community in regards to defeating the stigma and various things. Can you talk about how that has shaped you?
HIV is something that we could end right now. Like we could eradicate it. And once I found out like we need to, like, and there's just no question. We need to just spread the word across the community. We need to make sure that our community is on PrEP. Some of the statistics that I heard right before the pandemic, I'm not fully up to date on where we are at pandemic wise, like the past 2-3 years, because I think that, they haven't had a lot of in-person seminars and things like that. So I might be falling short on some of the stats, but very shortly, just 2 years ago, the statistic was that 50% of all African-American gay males were going to be HIV positive in my lifetime. And 1 out of 3 Latino males. And also the greatest at risk are African-American females, because a lot of men that they sleep with in their community are men who sleep with men sometimes, but don't consider themselves a gay person. So they don't use protection or don't even aren't educated on the fact. So for me, that is too close to comfort. I am tired of losing my siblings. I am tired of hearing a story about another loss of another trans person or another loss of another person in our community. And I think it's important that if we can't get certain government officials to make sure that there's comprehensive sexual education for minors, and that minors are being taught these abstinence programs, which lead to nothing but uneducated fear. I think it never worked in the past. Like, there's been booms of children every year. So I think that if we're going to keep having these babies, and we're going to, and the government's going to try to do things like control women's bodies with abortion, I am personally pro-life, but I am politically pro-choice. Like, I think that every woman should have the right to her body, and I think that if they're going to have these babies, they need to protect them if they're queer. Instead of just putting more queer or marginalized individuals like back into a system that just isn't working for them. And I think that that's pretty much where we're at. I couldn't not be political. They call it woke because your eyes are open.
Yeah.
So it's like after a certain point, when I've seen so much and I know so much, there really isn't a lot I could turn my back on anymore. And I think with that, it was like, I think I was super inspired by Miss Elizabeth Taylor. I'm an ambassador for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, but Miss Elizabeth Taylor was an angel on earth. And she not only had, did it all, baby. Like she did all the fashion and all the jewelry, and she did all the covers of all the magazines, and she had all the men, and she lived this beautiful, like, full life with this huge, beautiful family. I know all her grandchildren, each one of them have a heart of gold, and like, and many of them have eyes of either blue or violet. Like, and I think that she's just left such a legacy with her family and her work and everything else. But she has tirelessly worked for LGBTQ people and for people with HIV and AIDS. The stuff she put everything on the line. When her friend Rock Hudson was denied medicine from Nancy Reagan, and she saw that was sort of like a last straw for her, and it pushed her into this life. of when she saw, her direct quote was, "When I saw that gay people were the enemy, I knew that something had to be done." And she changed her whole life. I've heard stories about everything from her giving like life-saving drugs out of her mansion, like in Beverly Hills, to like her showing up in full Elizabeth Taylor drag with absolutely not one camera and just kissing people who were dying of AIDS on the face with lesions and everything, and just letting them know that they were loved and cared. And she sat in the Abbey in her wheelchair in her end of days and just gave gay people kisses. Like there's a huge portrait of her back there. She's just like an unbelievable, and she's left a huge portion of her likeness and trust fund. Like if you buy a perfume, if you buy makeup off, or like if you buy jewelry off QVC or whatever, that's part of the Elizabeth Taylor legacy, then all of that money goes to the operating costs of the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, like everything. So every money, all the monies that are collected go to people who need it with HIV and AIDS. And as a matter of fact, that's the main focus of the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, is they take funding and they distribute it to other AIDS organizations that need it. So they're like a funds distributor. So it's like they help fund AIDS Watch, which is where all the activists go to Washington, and we get to learn from all of the people who are on the HIV caucus and everything else, what's going on, and then go speak to senators and congresspeople about what could be done. And so they'll fund, like I remember back when the old managing director Joel Goldman was directing, and he was like, there were like these two guys, these two African-American guys who would go into bathhouses and talk to people about HIV and try to give them testing and health. They would literally go in there with t-shirts, and like, that's the kind of stuff that they fund. So the work is like vast, and everything from Africa to all over America. And I think, America needs a wake-up call. We need to know that this is something we can end. Yeah. And now the Moderna has just released their human trials for HIV PrEP that could last a few months. Like, so it's a vaccine that we could take, once or twice a year and have the same thing that PrEP does by taking a pill every day. But I take my PrEP pill every day, and that makes me completely not able to have the virus transmitted to me. And I think that I can't believe that. I can't believe I was able to see both lifetimes. I remember being a young person just at a conversion therapy and going to quite a few funerals. And to being that situation, to now come to a place where I take a pill every day and it's not going to be mine. Yeah. So I think that's like an extreme thing. I know Hey Mister is an organization where you can get free PrEP, because PrEP can be pretty expensive. You might not want to tell your folks about it if you're in college or whatever, and you might want to do something. But there's ways that you can get it sent to you for free, and you can meet with a doctor without insurance online. There's lots of different organizations. Another thing I want to mention when we were talking about non-affirming churches is that churchclarity.org is a great resource for your listeners to type in and find out which churches are gay affirming in your area. But I wanted to mention that because I just thought about that too with Hey Mister. But there's a lot of reach. We need to start Google. We are the age of information. Like when you think about all the different ages that have been through the human history, now we are in a place where you're in rural Kentucky, but like your favorite band could be my favorite band, and we can see the same performance live at the same time. And that is a unique time in history. So we can get information to broadcast all over the place. So I urge you to keep talking about these kind of issues on your podcast. And, it's great that that you are. And I try to do it all as much as I can. That's why I'm here, to try to spread the message and talk.
And we'll post the links to Elizabeth Taylor Foundation as well as Hey Mister and the church website as well.
And we just got Music City PrEP at play. They're going to be helping out, giving out free PrEP to people. So that we're excited about that too.
Oh, thank you, Music City PrEP. That's awesome. I know Miss Taylor would be on the corner in West Hollywood just handing that shit out. Like she'd be like, try my new candy.
So I know we've talked a lot about important stuff, but obviously you are a comedian, and so we've got to have some fun with you.
Thank you. This is getting too serious.
Are you ready?
I didn't know I was coming on Oprah.
It's got real serious, right? It's Oprah here. So let's first. This is, even though you're not a big fan of Valentine's Day, it is a Valentine's Day episode. What? So it is released on Valentine's Day. If you had to plan the perfect Valentine date, what would that look like?
Home. honestly, like, can I be honest with you? Like, I bust my ass from. I don't have a partner right now, but when I do, I really like one of my like love languages is gifting. So I love to do small little things and notesy things and da 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 da.
Same.
And I really don't get that back often with the people I date. So I think that a perfect Valentine's with me would be to be surprised with something, because that would just be like special to me, and maybe I would like the day more. But I feel like it's just another freaking day for me to plan some shit, and I ain't even trying to right now. Like, honestly, I'm like I live such an adventure. People go, "Why don't you go on a vacation?" And I'm like I'm a stand-up comedian who I do comedy all over the world, like literally, like so. It's like my life's kind of a vacation. So to me, that's not. And I don't mean to say that. And like I do work really hard, but I'll take 3 days extra on when I'm going to do the cruise to stay in Mexico and enjoy a spot. Like I'll treat myself to nice moments. But I think a real idea for me to do something is being home and having like intimate memories and moments. Like
I love that.
To me feels so special, because I don't have that. Like a home cooked meal and someone helping me pack, and like just like simple romantic things to make my life easier really means so much more to me than anything material anyone can buy me.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Romantic evenings. If you could take.
Oh, okay. Well, hey.
Yes. No. If you could take any celebrity on a date for Valentine's Day, who would you pick and why?
Betty White.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She passed away. I was just kidding. I was trying to think of something. No. You're like, well, you can't. I'm like, why? And this is how I find out.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you probably could. It just might not be socially acceptable, No.
Oh, God bless Betty White. I think I don't really have like a crush, like a celeb crush. If I was, I don't know, I'd go to dinner with Ariana Grande.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if it would be like a real date though. If I had like a date, I don't know. I mean, there's people I think are cute, but I don't really want to date them. I think celebs are skeezy sometimes.
Yeah.
So before we go into our final segment, which is called Pot of Gold, where we ask you one final question, you get the chance to ask us any question under the sun that you want. We always do a segment called Heap of Trouble. As a comedian, I'm sure you've had a lot of very comedic things happen to you in LGBTQ plus culture. So we want kind of your most comedic story about your time as a gay male.
I don't know about most comedic gay stories, but like I think like one of my most like weirdest fan encounters was like somebody tried to, it just came to mind, it was like somebody tried to ask for my autograph like when I was at the urinal.
Wow.
They're like, oh, you're the guy from, and I don't think this guy was gay either, and it was at a diner. And he was like, you're the guy from that movie. Goodness. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, can I have your autograph? And I was like, yeah, I want to get my penis out of my hand. Like, I just like, and then he was like, oh, and then like, he kind of just like, didn't ask for it afterwards. And I kind of wrote it on a napkin and handed it to him when I left. Like,
maybe he was asking for like a water sports signature. You never know.
I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but I don't know if that was the mood for the night.
Right.
That's amazing.
I see where your mind's at, Kurtis.
Right, yeah.
He's like, rain on me. No.
That's crazy. I do have a final question. Who are two modern day people that you will put in your personal burn book?
Oh. Two modern day people I would put in my personal burn book. I hate one person who I can't stand is that Martin Scarelli guy, the guy that bought the HIV medication and all these other medications, and then like made it like $5,000 more than it was. When it was $1 medication, like people like that, I'm like, ugh, I don't like you. So him, and then I'm like, who annoys me? I'm not mad at Trump. I'm just mad at the people that voted for him.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I like Trump on The Apprentice. Like, I found him entertaining.
Yeah.
For the right thing, I'd be like, if they were like, if someone was like, you're buying, I don't do a Trump impression, but if he was like, you're gonna buy a new house, he's like, I'll make sure I talk to the realtor for you. I'd be like, great. Do you know, like, be an a-hole to the realtor and get me a deal. But to run my country, it wasn't the thesis. That's not what I wanted.
Right.
You know, I was like, that's not the flavor that I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Especially coming off Obama. That was like when you were a kid and you'd think you were grabbing soda and you'd accidentally grab whiskey and you'd be like, like it was just like, you know, we had such a great president. I mean, like Obama made me cry like 19 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, while during his presidency, I like his speeches were eloquent. Like he, I canvassed for him in Nevada. Like I was like all about Obama, and then we get that guy, and you know, and now it's like we're back to like powdered milk again. I'm just like, we need to change it up.
That's
like
crazy.
I'm glad that Biden won, but I think that we could have a little more happening.
Yeah.
You know? But I'd rather it be like
I do miss the Obama Biden memes though. Those were my favorite. Like just Biden being cool with Obama.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know?
I mean, you know, honestly, Obama was so cool he got Biden elected. Like it was just like, you know what I mean? Like it's like he just had a little bit of that like zhuzh rub off on him or something.
Yeah.
But I just really feel like I think I'm really waiting for our next hero. I'm holding out for the hero right now.
Yeah.
I need someone to show up that's gonna just like be inspiring, and that's what the country needs right now.
Michelle.
Michelle would be kind of dope, but
I know.
It would be awesome.
I had to laugh because you had took me back to my youth. My grandmother used to drink Crown. And I remember at age 7 or 8 going into the refrigerator and taking her cup thinking it was Coca-Cola, and I took a big squig of it and it was straight up Crown.
I know it's happened. My grandfather and his wine.
Like,
oh, this is something else, and then I'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
Gross.
On that note, we're going to let you ask your question to us, and then I'm going to end the show with the question for you. So,
Kurtis, you are the Y'all Need Jesus shirt. Where do you find most difficult about your intersexuality between your sexuality and your spirituality?
Yeah, I think you've talked a lot about the things that I struggle the most with on this episode, and it's having that freedom a lot of time to be the voice of both sexuality and God, because a lot of times it seems like there's no commingling those topics. Like you can talk about one or you can talk about the other, two different groups. So I've really liked everything you said, because it's something I've struggled with, is to bring those two items together and talk about them in the same conversation. Because still I live in a rural area, so I still struggle with being very more liberal than the 99% of the people that surround me. And to me, it's like I have to constantly be thinking whether I can classify like the conversation in the sexual category, or do I need to talk about God? So I think I'm going to try to do more of bringing those together, like you said. So we'll see how that goes.
It was interesting. On the show, we had someone who was an expert on spirituality and kink. And I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, no way. I was like, oh. And it was only like our 3rd episode in. So there's a lot of stuff on Yash Jesus that made me grow, or made me think differently about, or, you know, take me away from even. You know, in the beginning, we were cursing all the time because I thought that was the answer to like being cool. And then I was like, wait a minute, like it's maybe a tad disrespectful sometimes. Like, so I kind of like, you know, have grown with it. But that was one of the most shocking ones, because he talked about a Christian couple that he knows, male and female hetero Christian couple, who go to sex parties and even partake sometimes in like religious kink. But it's something that deals with their church hurt, turns them on, and it's consensual, and you know they only watch others. And I was like, tell me more, cheese mate. Like I wanted to know like the whole gossip, because I never thought that like, to me, I always felt like blasphemy was like the worst thing, you know. But then like, what's the meter that defines that? You know, I did an episode about that too, where I was upset when I was 12. I came home from school and my mom was like, she could tell I was upset. She was like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I heard a joke today and I think God would be mad at me. It's about God. And my mom was like, well, what's the joke? And I was like, what is it called when God goes to the bathroom? Holy shit. And my mom was like, oh, you know, like in 4th grade. She was like, listen, I think God has a sense of humor. He created comedy. He created comedy as something that would help make you laugh, you know, and help make you feel good. And I think that is something that's freed me, you know, because it kind of it falls in this, the comedy is the same irreverence as sexuality in a way. So it's kind of like, you can kind of feel like it's all a taste level at the end of the day, because some things are culturally appropriate that aren't culturally appropriate in other cultures. So, but yeah,
I think there was so much shame for like discussing sexuality for me growing up that a lot of times it's hard to combine those conversations. But something you were brought up, you know, about like kissing somebody while you're on Molly or, you know, doing those things, like I would always feel bad the next day that I did those things because I'd be like, God doesn't want this, you know, so it was a lot of shame there. But honestly, I've told people this story all the time. One of my greatest epiphanies, like with God and my relationship with God, happened whenever I was like shit-faced on Everclear.
Right.
And it was the point in which I like ran out the door in my underwear and it was like a foot of snow outside, like main character energy type shit, going to tell this straight boy that I loved it. And it was like my first, like, I'm going to out myself here, like going to that. And like, I remember falling in the snow and then being like, I like this freedom. Like, this is who I am. Like, and like, I remember looking up at the sky and being like, okay, this is right. And so like at that point, from that day forward, I started coming out. So, you know, it's some of those fucked up times that God speaks to you, you know?
Look, you know, we have to let our emotional guards down. And sometimes it takes, I think that the appropriate rural Kentucky term is a shit ton of Everclear. But I think like to let you kind of see some light, you know? You have to shake shit up to see the light sometimes, you know? It's not like we cover it up with so many different things that sometimes you got to pull back, you know, and sometimes it's by hook or by crook. But I think that all that matters is that you made, you know, no one matters how you got to the party. It just matters that you went to the party.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter how you show up at the foot of Jesus. You just got to be there. And I think that there's a lot, you know, I think that I would like to see, you know, that happen more. And that was a moment that you felt both like vibrating on your sexuality and your spirituality. And I think tapping into that is true centeredness, truly. I mean, not to be like, whoa, I feel like we're about to like go through like Avasana or something.
Right.
Or ayahuasca is what I meant. Ayahuasca. Like, it's so crazy. Okay, Leah, I want to know, what is your most scandalous pageant moment? Like something like that happened at one of those 40 pageants where you were like, bitch tried to get me, but she couldn't.
Okay, so this is first time I'm going to say this on air because it's been many, many years ago and the pageant is over with. I'm not going to say what year, but I competed in a pageant in Dallas. And the girl that was assuming to win the pageant, they were saying, you know, pageants are political too. She was going to win the pageant. Well, 3 years before that, this young lady in my first pageant ever stole everything from me before the pageant started. She paid somebody to steal all my evening gowns, my hair and everything. So fast forward, we meet up in the pageant again. So my clever ass decide to crush up some light bulbs and put in her powder.
Oh no.
And goodness.
And unfortunately, well, you know, if you pat with it, it'll cause. If you use a brush, she was smart. She used the brush. I did a lot of things to that girl. I put some Visine in her. I said, let me buy you a drink. I put some Visine in her drink.
Okay.
So let me tell you.
So this will be edited out. So I should ask you a different question.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, listen, it's many years ago. And honestly, me and this
they
girl
warned me when I went into theater school. They were like, "Watch out, because the ballerinas put razor blades in the bottom of the ballerina shoes."
Oh,
so I was like, "What?"
Honestly, me and this young lady, we're really good friends.
Oh, okay, good.
We're really good friends.
Well, they used to be.
Yeah,
That sounds like one of those like.
No, I'm gonna tell you the pageant world.
Who else but a bosom buddy will put glass in your makeup?
Right, the pageant world is very competitive. You know, there's stories of girls stopping shipments of evening gowns or cutting up evening gowns. Like, it's competitive.
Wow.
You put a lot of money into that, and it's you know, it's like the movie Showgirls. You want your spot, mama.
That's it. Oh wow, another by hook or by crook.
I'll push a bitch. I will push a bitch for a crown.
I'm gonna watch out, but I'm gonna be like, you can have it. Like, go ahead. I'm scared of you.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. 40 crowns. That's it.
Yeah.
You gotta get them.
You know what? I got them all taped down here. I'm gonna take one out, and I'm gonna break this one in 4 pieces for us.
No, don't break it. Don't break it. If you're gonna actually break it, give it to me. Frown it. Don't frown it.
This one is true to my heart. This is Miss Gay, Ohio, USA 2012. It took me 3 years to win this bitch.
Yes, but I'm here for it.
But you got it.
You took it home.
Yes. No. I've sold some crowns to some girls. So it's just too many, and they get old and they turn into dust.
Right. That's so awesome. That's a pretty impressive bounty of crowns.
All right. Well, I've got one final question for you. But before I do this to close out the show, I do have to. We had a lot of listeners submit questions, but they asked what your dance would look like if we were to take you to Mykonos.
Oh, what would my Mykonos dance be? Oh man, well, I could twerk pretty awesome. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to false advertise because there ain't a lot of business going around there these days. Like, only 2. You know, I don't want to fall, but I would probably, I would show my skills. I don't think I'd be able to help it.
Okay.
All right. Well, mine's more serious. So we normally do not do this on this show, but I love that y'all do this on Yes Jesus podcast. And I want to ask you if you will close out our show by leading us in a prayer.
Oh, that's so nice. I would definitely like to. All right, we'll do it just like we did on Yes Jesus here. Everybody bow your heads in prayer unless you are driving, because Jesus cannot actually take the wheel. So thank you. Father God, we just want to thank you so much for coming here today on this glorious Valentine's Day. And I want to speak directly, God, to all those folks that feel like this day makes them feel less than, like I felt in the past. And you could let them know that there is no less than, because there's only more, God, because they are created fearfully and wonderfully. And I want to thank you for the opportunity yet again to be able to spread your message of love for the LGBTQIA+ community, letting them know that they are forgiven and not forgotten, and that they are welcome, and that they belong, and that they were never supposed to leave, Lord. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here with Kurtis and Leah and Amy, and just expressing just love and joy for each other, in admiration for others in the community, holding each other up like siblings, and underneath the beautiful rainbow of your promise, God. We are so grateful for this opportunity, and I want to thank you all for the people that are listening here, whether they are in a fancy city or a rural place. There's a place in your heart for them, Lord. And we want to welcome them to this podcast, or Yes Jesus, or anywhere. And we want to encourage them to create their own communities, God, that they can reach out to other people. We thank you so much in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, Jesus.
Folks, it was such a pleasure having Danny on the show with us here. I hope that you all will head over to Yes Jesus podcast and take it a listen, or on your Valentine's Day, go have a date with him. You can watch Mean Girls. It's available online now on DVD. And I'm sure if you search far enough, it's probably still available on VHS. So thank you so much, Danny, for being a part of our show.
You got it.
Yes. Bye, Danny. Bye to all of you out there. We love you. We love all the listeners. We will see you back here for season 3 of Weathering Rainbows.
Bye, folks. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to come on back now. I know we all love a little vibration, so if you are not already, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. And we will surprise you on occasion with a new release vibration in your pocket. But in the meantime, if you find yourself alone or crossing new horizons along the Rainbow Trail, and you need a friend or even a laugh to get you through those dark and stormy nights, holler on out to us at www.weatheringrainbows.com, where you can find shelter in the blogs, videos, and other episodes that will hopefully keep you out of a whole heap of trouble. So until next time, y'all, giddy up, be true to yourself, and make the best of life. And wherever the wild tracks may lead you, may the rainbow always touch your shoulder.